Brian Powell of I Run Far here with Courtney Dauwalter after her win at the 2021 UTMB.
Hello.
How's it feeling?
I mean, I feel good now.
So, yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Did that feel good?
That was pretty fun.
Yeah?
It was fun to make it all 107 miles.
And that's a lot of miles.
It is a lot of miles. It's pretty far.
It is pretty far. So you didn't have any real huge down points out there during the day yesterday?
Nothing really huge, no. I think as far as 100-mile races go, it was like pretty steady. It was pretty smooth. There weren't any huge hiccups. And I think anything that did come up, my husband and I just managed fairly well. So there was
You were
like
able to assess and...
Yeah, and just keep everything in perspective. Like, I think we were both of the mindset, like, nothing's a big deal and we'll get to the finish line. So let's see what that looks like.
Is that a change in mindset, or is that just you're maybe thinking of that perspective more after not being able to address things at Hard Rock?
Yeah, and I think lining up for this one, I mean, it was no matter how long it takes, I'm going to make this whole loop, because after Hard Rock and not finishing it, I just wanted the adventure of 100 miles.
Mm-hmm.
So we were ready for whatever got thrown our way, and luckily nothing huge got thrown our way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the early going, you're either behind with or a little bit in front of Mimi. Like, what was that first half of the race like? Because you were together essentially. You were in Courmayeur.
Yeah.
In the aid station together.
Yeah. Funnily enough, we were so close in time always, but we didn't run one step together.
Really? You were never in sync?
No. And I saw her like 100 meters behind me at one point and was hollering at her to come up and join me, because I love Mimi and I would have really enjoyed some time together. But we were also just kind of both, holding our pace and doing our own thing.
In that first 50 miles, 80K, you didn't feel like you were racing her, cat and mouse, nothing, just...
No, for sure not. Absolutely.
So how did you not sync up?
I know. Well, I didn't want to wait then have her be like, no, I want to run by myself, because, sometimes in your head or I know for her to translate to English, because I don't speak Swedish, is difficult. And so it was fine, though. It was like a comforting friend nearby. It didn't feel like we had to like play games or try and trick each other. It was just like Mimi and I out on this course together.
And yeah, like nothing artificial or anything about like Colt to me, 30K. I think she came in first. You had a little quicker time in the aid station. Nobody really rushed it, but then you're going out and it's not like you're just like good luck or whatever. Like you're like stopping, like, hey, you want to go out? Like
yeah. And same at Courmayeur, we were there together. Yeah. And I was like, come on, Mimi, let's go do this. And she's like, get on, go.
And like she was even a couple, like you were there, I think 4.5 minutes before her, or something like that. Maybe it was 6.5, but like she was much quicker, and she was only like 2 minutes behind you. Going out. Yeah.
I never knew exactly where, but it was always like Mimi's there, and that makes me feel great.
Nice.
Yeah.
At some point she wasn't there, nor were any other women. Like at some point in that middle second third of the race, like you opened up a pretty big gap in the field. Did you ever know that or hear that at all?
No, probably the first time I started to get the time splits was maybe like Champs-Élysées.
Yeah.
Which I don't like. If I didn't get any the whole day, it would have been okay. It's nice to sometimes get a little update, like, is there some breathing room or no breathing room? Yeah. But in general, I would say I'm going to be putting in as much effort as I can anyways, so a time split isn't a game changer.
So you're pretty self-motivated in that regard.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, regardless of like whether you're in first or fifth or whatever, you're gonna give what you have.
Yeah.
Smartly and paced-wise, but like
that's the hope.
Yeah, that's the hope. But oh no, we're getting.
Is that the paparazzi?
Cheers, paparazzi. So, what does motivate you then to run that good time? Because at some point you're a half hour, you're an hour ahead in the women's race. What keeps you giving your all?
For every race, that's my hope, is to cross the line without any questions of like what could have been, or if I tried a little harder or dug a little bit deeper. So if I'm going to race, I want to leave it all out there.
Yeah. And that means you're racing, I mean, for a good portion of the second half of the race, you're in the top 10 overall. Are you then just trying to pick off whoever's in front of you? If like, Hannes is there or...
Yeah, and we kind of yo-yoed a little bit, but for sure it was like, you know, are there people to find, but also just like how efficient can I be on this section and still save a little bit of juice for that last climb out of Valersine.
That's a climb, ain't it?
It's the worst.
I don't think I've ever had that in perspective, of watching, like being at the finish line and seeing you going up that climb on the...
I dislike it a lot.
It did look like you were having fun on the downhill.
No, it's just so technical and steep, and my legs were toast. Like they felt like, so from Valersine to the finish, I was out of juice, and I just hoped there would be a little adrenaline left to like help me push over. I don't think the adrenaline worked because my legs were just rubber. My feet weren't picking up, so I was tripping on everything.
Nobody caught like some sort of superwoman going down.
Yeah. But I felt lucky because last time I raced this in 2019, that happened at Champs-Élysées. And so it was 30 miles of it versus 12 miles.
And you mentally, you can parse that out and manage that. Like,
yeah.
I'm tired. There's 12 miles to go.
Yeah. One uphill. Let's just get to that fire road.
When you were saying you and Kevin were assessing and mitigating challenges that came away, like I heard you talk a little bit, like that climb from Courmayeur and descent to La Folie, like not everything's, huge low patches, but everything's going great. Like what little things like did you have to assess and deal with out there?
Basically at Courmayeur, I switched to full liquid diet, which had been in the plan, but I had thought I could make it to more like mile 70 before I switched to just liquids. So we kind of pivoted for that one just because solids weren't working anymore. I did lose some of it up on the top of that climb out of Courmayeur, but I don't know. It was just a one and done. Like
it was just a rejection. Like
I think I just drank too fast or
It was how you were feeling nauseous for 10 or 20K before. It was just...
But when I started throwing up, I was like, oh no, I'm like having flashbacks of Hard Rock and like, is this where it goes downhill? But really, once I threw up and started running along that like rolling part to get to Col de Ferret, it was fine. So it was like it never happened.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll take that any day.
So you didn't have any major challenges out there. You made it around. Were you conscious of or thinking at all about like you were running a ridiculously fast time?
No.
Never crossed your mind. No. In retrospect, you know that, right? Like it's kind of for some years like the I guess I hate using boxing metaphors, but like the belts get separated between the different associations. Like there was a record on the shorter or like the slightly faster course without the pyramid calcaire. And then there was that course record. And like you kind of brought them back together because you ran faster than any woman had on that the traditional or older 100-mile route. Like
I didn't actually even know Rory's time. I knew it was in the 22s. I knew it was like really crazy and that she's super talented and amazing. And then I don't know, when I'm running, it's just too hard to do the math for things. So I saw maybe the time in Champs-Élysées and I was like, oh, there's still like quite some hours before we're in the 22s. But I had no idea what those last 3 climbs to the finish line take. So I was just going as best I could. Yeah. And you can't do more than that.
And but like now that it's finished, do you feel proud of that? Like, what do you think of like? I know you're a humble person, but like, that's got to sink in at some point, right?
I feel psyched that it feels like we like put it together pretty well. Like we were never rushing through aid stations. I feel like out on the course, I was never rushing. I was always trying to like keep the reins pulled in a little bit and keep that 100-mile distance in mind for pacing. So never pushing it past what felt like 100-mile pace. And then just like, I don't know, I think the little things add up, like doing our crew stations, like at aid stations, I think we were a little slower than normal because a lot of times I'll just bust in, we'll do the bottles quick and then get out of there. And I spent like, I don't know how many minutes at Courmayeur, but a lot.
Yeah, 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, that's quite some for us. But I feel like we were just like very diligent about, what do we need? Let's do it well and do it right the first time so that out on the trail, there's less chance for problems. And I think that kind of stuff.
So you slowed down to speed up because you were on comparing apples to apples. You ran a couple hours faster than you did 2 years ago.
Yeah, I do feel like in general, just my whole feeling about the race was just like, be chill, like stay chill through everything, pace and aid stations.
Now it's fascinating because you're like describing your race, but you're using we and our, and I think that's really cool because I assume the other half of we and our other part is Kevin, like your husband.
Yeah.
Like, but it is a big team effort.
For sure.
Like,
I mean, this sport to me is a team sport with him where my legs and feet do the distance, but I mean, he's part of that finish line as well. And
he's also like, there's a yin and a yang to it. Like, I feel like your person, like, obviously you get like along super well, but like your personalities are very complementary.
Yeah. He's the numbers guy.
He's the analytics and logistics, and you're like, I'm here, I'm gonna run.
Yeah. Which way do I go? Do I go now? Okay.
And like, what's that like? Like, do you have to parse that out, or you're just like, hey, Kevin, you're like doing the logistics?
No, it just kind of naturally happened. He's been crewing me since my very first 100-mile attempt in 2012, and neither of us knew anything about the sport, and just sort of like fell into the things that we were like a little better at figuring out. So he was like instantly, loved the data and like figuring out splits and looking at courses and stuff, and I just love the training.
So then I gotta like this is taking things a little sideways, but
I love that. Let's go.
So okay, if we're gonna slide over here, so say Kevin is gonna run High Lonesome next year or something like that.
Yeah.
You're crewing him. Who the hell's taking care of the logistics?
No.
You're bringing in like Meredith Terranova, somebody like getting amalgamated to your crew?
Yeah, it's a good question. And we have flipped roles where I have crewed him at a 100-mile race, and it went okay.
From your perspective.
But he's the numbers guy, so he's crunching numbers while he's running.
Yeah.
So.
And that's like what he does, like in his job, in his work. Like he's technical. Like
I think his brain is just a spreadsheet. Like if you looked at his,
we're just like watching The Matrix.
Yeah, and mine's like a tie dye jelly bean factory.
I like it. Tie-dye jelly bean. I need tie-dye jelly beans. So, heck yeah. Does anybody make the jelly bellies? Are pretty close.
Yeah.
So, is this it for your season? You got any fun adventures this fall? I mean, I hope you do.
Yeah, I hope so too. I know Big's Backyard is supposed to happen in October, and so that will be the next official race, but I'm just really excited to be in Colorado in September and play in the mountains, maybe do some fast packing, and just have some fun.
Less focus,
Yeah.
Do it another thing that you love to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, is Big's 100% settled? Because you've just, you had Hard Rock and you went quite a ways and had a rough go, and then you have this. Are you going to assess whether Big's is going to happen, or you just go there and see what happens?
I think that format's pretty cool because it's just the 4-mile loop every hour, and so even if you're not 100% certain of your physical readiness, you could show up and surprise yourself and stay in longer than you think. So, but we'll see. Yeah.
Think you'll come back here either next year or sometime again, or is this done and dusted? You nailed it.
No, it's not done and dusted. But we'll see when I do come back. I love it here, so it'd be fun to come, just be a part of it all again.
Nice. Well, congrats on another great run, Courtney.
Thank you. Thanks for being out there. All the coverage was excellent.
Oh, thank you. Our pleasure.
I hope you guys get some sleep.
Me too.